Hello everyone, and welcome to another horrific review. I'm joined once again by Dale as we discuss Housebound. Released in 2014, this film tells of a young woman who is forced to return to her childhood home after being placed under house arrest, where she suspects something evil may be lurking. This movie was made on a budget of $400,000 and released for video on demand. Welcome back as we carry on with some dark humor.
Yes. This one had me on the edge of my seat, I tell you.
Oh, it was so much fun.
It did. Yeah.
I have really come to appreciate New Zealand humour because it really is similar to my own. Just that sort of dark irreverence.
Yeah, absolutely. Kiwi humour. Oh my God. And it really worked in this one. It really did. Yeah. It was quite dark in some places, and then it just had some really nice, lovely, hilarious bits. Oh, really good hilarious bits in it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Loved it, actually.
Hang on, my screen just disappeared. The opening scene just had me in stitches, though. The ATM theft. That was so tragic.
It was tragic. And I love the little thing you said to me. Oh my God.
We had a whole spate of those in Northern Ireland. I mean, it was like every week an ATM was getting nicked because people were just stealing diggers.
Oh my goodness.
It was bad, honestly.
It's really, really terrible. I mean, I know it's happened over here a couple of times, but they've never got away with it. But using diggers and stuff, that's amazing. That video you see, it was just wow.
Yeah, that was just what, I mean, anywhere there was an ATM in a garage, they were getting hit because it's very rural or country. I mean, you've got Belfast and Londonderry are the two main cities. That's it. Everything else is basically villages and country.
Wow.
So
that's amazing.
Effectively, what you have are like little isolated garages and shops and stuff, out in the middle of nowhere. So that's what they do. They go and steal a digger off a farm, and straight in, just take the whole thing.
That's amazing. Really retarded.
Yeah. She's doing this with her partner / boyfriend, whatever the hell he was meant to be. And like they're not even wearing gloves or anything. And you're just like, are you two trying to get caught?
Drongos. Oh my God.
Absolute dingbats.
I was hooked from the beginning.
Yeah, and then obviously Kylie's the main character, so it's the court thing was a bit strange how they ordered that. I was never heard anything like that before. All right, no, you're not going to jail, you're going to house arrest. I want to go to jail. No, you're going to house arrest. And you're like, okay, don't send me back to my mum, sort of thing.
Yeah, the perfect punishment. Send them home to their parents.
Punishes them both.
It's not a true thing, but well, it's a great idea, isn't it?
You raised it.
One way to
you deal
people.
with it. You produced this reprobate in society, so guess what? It's coming back and staying with you, and you got to look after it now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, she's the one that raised an irresponsible child, so
yeah, I've done it.
Oh, poor mum having to put up with her. Oh my God.
Oh.
And then again, poor Kylie having to put up with her mum.
It really is
each other.
It's a hate really. It's just two magnets to the same poles just bashing off each other.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Oh God. She'd rather go to jail than go back to her parents. That says something.
Mm-hmm. So I can't remember. Did her dad had left or something? Was that what happened?
Yeah, her dad left years ago or something.
Yeah, he left.
Never paid child.
Yeah. that sort of thing. Yeah, I couldn't
And he's
remember if he
doing
had
quite
died or
well
not.
for himself.
Mm.
No, he's over somewhere, and he's earning lots of money, and he's not looking out. He's not paying anything. So, yeah, he's out of the picture. So Graham is a stepdad, I suppose.
It's the most thankless job in the world. Poor guy. Poor Graham. Like, he just wants a quiet life, and all of a sudden, Kylie arrives back, and you're like, you just kind of see him going,
Yeah.
what? Poor
Yeah.
fella.
And then that scene where they're stuck together, talking, having to talk to each other, that uncomfortable silence. They don't know how to speak to each other. Yeah, they did that part really well, the awkwardness that they have towards each other, because I suppose they hardly know each other, really. No.
Probably not. If she got out of the house basically as soon as she could, then it would make sense. It seems like her mother and Graham have just built this wee life together, quiet, get on with things, and Kylie's just full of angst and anger and substance abuse, addiction and all that kind of stuff, just decided to, fall off the pier. And yeah, I think with this as well, there's a bit of you sort of get this drip fed. It's not like beating you over the head with the Kylie's the victim, blah, blah, blah. You can see the circumstances, but you can also see the life choices as well. She's having to take responsibility for her own actions.
Yeah. Like, I think, honestly, this movie it's really relatable, I think. I found it really relatable. Yeah, to the point, the mother-daughter sort of situation and the rift, and then we find out later on, about her leaving the house and all that sort of stuff. So there is some really serious stuff going on here, even though there's lots of humour to lighten the load, but it's very relevant, when a child is playing up and then they end up leaving home and then having to come back. I mean, poor Kylie, but she has to face up to what she did. It's got nothing to do with the parents. It might just be whatever, but she's chosen that pathway, to go down that dark path of being a criminal and all that sort of stuff. So, which is really sad, because it does happen to a lot of children when they leave home. Young adults. How old she must have been? About 20.
About that, F20, I think it was. She'd be lucky if she was. No, I used to work with young people, way back in the day, and I've seen a lot of that stuff, and it's not good. It's and there's nothing you can really do, because at the end of the day, you can only do so much. The person has to do it themselves. Like,
yeah,
that's you almost have to be hard-hearted about it, because person makes their own choices, and that whatever comes of it comes of it.
It is just really hard when children turn against you. Like I've got a situation going on with my own 30-year-old son, and there's a rift there that can't. It's you want to fix the rift, or you want to fix the void that's been made, but that other person doesn't want to do the work. So it's kind of like, I think that's why a lot of parents end up not sleeping anymore, because they're just riddled with guilt. It's like, oh my God, my child's ended up like this. What did I do to do that? And then in actual fact, it's actually just the choice of the child or the adolescent or the young person, and there comes a time where you have to step away and just put your boundaries down and go, no, I'm not putting up with this in my house anymore. And in this film, you can see that the mum's right, stuck in the middle of being with this terrible, terrible child who's just completely wrecked their house and turned their lives upside down. She's had to come home, and I don't know, just that's just, I couldn't even imagine that happening, having your child come back when you're not even talking anymore. I mean, I bet they didn't even, she's like, mum hasn't seen her in a few years now, and then she just turns up, and I love the bit when she's so snarky, the mother. Oh, that's a flash little ankle bracelet you've got on, isn't it? Oh, and I love your brand new iPhone, and like.
Oh, it's not that whole conversation. It's not enable. It's not enable. I love,
No, right? I mean, okay, this was 2014, so
yeah.
what was actually set back. So there was something going on there, because this seems to have been set in about 2000s with the dial-up internet.
That's what I was going to ask you, because it might have been released in 2014, but it wasn't set in 2014.
No, definitely not. Not with the dial-up. I mean, I think we got rid of dial-up over here in the 2005, something really, really ridiculous, quite late. So yeah, her trying to do dial-up. But I'm thinking that's just because mum can't be bothered having the internet, so she's just got dial-up. Do you see what I mean? Because why would they be talking about iPhone back in 2000? They weren't even a thing.
It was a very strange setup, because that's what the technology in the house didn't make sense. Old radio phone-in shows, do they still exist?
Yeah, we do have one, and that was actually who they were talking about. Radio New Zealand. Well, they have this every morning. They have people come on and talk and stuff like that. So they still do that. So it very quite confusing. Yeah, the timeline and the setting was off. I think seriously, because I don't think this was actually for back in 2000s. I think it was set a bit later.
Could have been because you wouldn't have had the rectangle phone.
No,
2000 was the days of the Motorola's and the Nokias.
Yes.
If you're talking about dial-up internet,
and you heard that, hello, Moto.
Yeah, hello, Moto.
Yeah.
Oh God, that tune! I could not get over that. I was just like such a flashback. I forgot about it until today. Like, oh my God.
When it started going, I was like, oh my God, I know that sound. There'll be lots of people who won't, but
I got a mobile phone when I was 16. Because I'd started work when I was in college. Yeah, I started working, so I had a part-time job. So what I did was I bought, I mean, I didn't sponge off my parents. I got the stuff myself.
Yeah.
So obviously, and the same as when I got my computer, I got my own telephone line, so I paid for it. So, and back then, do you remember you were charged per minute? You were online.
Oh God!
Do you remember that you had so many minutes with your subscription, and then you were charged per minute, and then you got basically a phone bill?
Yeah.
Sorry, kids. This might sound like ancient history to you, but it happened, and even my mom. I remember my mom fighting me. What are you doing? That's going to cost. I'm like, well, I'm paying for it. You know what I mean? That's why I'm working Saturdays and Sundays and evenings during the week to pay for it. Flip's sake, what's the problem?
Yeah.
Oh, would you
rather look at the technology we have? Yeah.
I say, would you rather it was on a street corner, smacked out of my head on something?
Yeah. Exactly right.
Some of the stuff with Kylie and her mum reminds me of me and mine. Just the button heads over random things. I'm like, what am I actually doing that's annoying you so much? Would you rather I was out there, falling about the place and all that kind of stuff? Obviously, I went to the pub as well.
Joining gang.
Yeah. And there's so many opportunities to get up to bad stuff where I came from. So, it's odd. Just
definitely.
People are strange, and parents and kids and stuff, and go through it myself. It's like, it's all sort of laid out in this movie, which is very interesting.
It is. It really adds texture to the whole film, doesn't it? There's just so many relevant bits in there that are relatable still now. to what when they, it's always going to be like that. But I don't know. At the end of the day, I think that was a really good plot idea to send her back home. I think that worked really, really well because I had no idea what this film was about. I thought it was a horror, which it clearly was in a way. But seriously, it had me on the edge of my seat. I haven't watched a film for quite a while now that I've actually sat there like, oh my God, what's going to happen? And, so I'm really glad for that.
A lot of twists and turns, but that goes to show as well. I am sick of, and I've made this argument, people look down their noses at horror and they think that, oh, it's only horror, blah blah blah, and all this stuff that come out with. I'm like, it's horror is just an element. At the end of the day, if you tell a good story, it's it only elevates the genre, and that's, I always say that as well. The horror creators, don't think you're getting into horror just because it's easy, or don't come in with the attitude of, oh, I'm only doing this till I get my real gig. That winds me up. That's, you can tell those people a mile off, especially in filmmaking. They think that, oh, I'll do a few horror movies till I get my real job, and you just think, you arseholes. And then that's why we have so much guff out there that don't care. But
absolutely true. 100%. Yeah. And I don't know how people can get off saying, horror's a lazy genre and it's so easy to write horrific scenes. And it's like, no, actually, you need plot, storyline, characterization, and sensory details, all this sort of stuff. Otherwise, your movie's going to be crap. So, and nobody's going to watch it. No one's going to buy the DVD. So, if people are walking around thinking that horror is an easy genre, well, actually, it's one of the hardest genres to write, to pull it off, right, Colin?
Because
to pull it off,
you can't rely on shock, and you can't scare people, because especially horror fans stop being scared from they're like 11.
I know.
That's just the reality. A hardcore horror fan started watching them from their 5 or 6 years of age. It's just that way we're wired. We look for skulls. We look for the spooky stuff. It's just... Do you know when I first... Actually, it was about 5 or 6. Do you know when I first knew I was a horror fan? We used to do this thing with a school. The Parents Association used to organise like an annual trip. It was to a seaside town. And...
Oh, yeah.
That was it. It was just a wee day trip. And it was just a thing where all the parents organised it, got the bus, everyone went up. You just spent the day and you went around the amusements and got ice cream, fish and chips and whatever, sort of thing you do. But there was always like t-shirt printing places, basically printed them on the spot. So it was like a wee booth and had all the logos in a little book, and you picked one, they printed it on the t-shirt for you and you just took it away. You ever see those?
No, I never have.
Oh, that's...
How cool.
Yeah, the transfers.
Yeah, I know about them.
Bloody hell. You make a bloody fortune, start a business, flipping people. I think people still love that. So what you do is you basically just, rather than having like loads of t-shirts, pre-printed and stuff, they have all the t-shirts, all different sizes and colours blank. And then what they do is just print on the transfer. And I can't remember what it was. It was, it was buttons back in the day. Probably be 20 quid or something now, whatever that in New Zealand, 30, 40. It wouldn't be a lot of money, but you could just pick your own design and they had everything. The reason I knew I was a horror fan, because once I started seeing the skulls and the, skulls with snakes coming through them and stuff, that's where I lingered. And that was from like about 5 years old, going, I want that. And sure enough, got my t-shirt printed, I was happy. But then I instantly became the weirdo. Because what'd you pick that for? Everyone else is picking love hearts and cats and, the pops. They used to do the pop stars, like a photograph of them. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Kylie and Jason back in the day and all that stuff. But you know what I mean? That was it. But then I just knew from that moment. Yeah. That's where my attention. And then ever since that day, and like sunny bright day, middle of summer, my ice cream, got my t-shirt, and I just knew it was a horror. I just liked the dark stuff. I liked the imagery, and here we are today. I mean,
yes, right. You must have been born with it in your blood.
I think you are. I think we've all got our, you know, I mean, you can get an appreciation for stuff, but I think we're all hardwired, personality-wise, to like a certain thing, and there's no getting away from it.
No.
No, I can fall into.
Totally.
You can be swayed towards more things because of culture, gender, all that. You know what I mean? Boys like this, girls like that, Westerners like this.
Yeah.
Middle Easterns, like, you know what I mean? You can be swayed towards certain aesthetics and that because of culture, but I think each of us is hardwired to like a certain thing. And if you're a horror fan, you know from like day one.
Yeah, because it clicks, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. You're really interested in it. You're not scared of it at all. You want more. I think that's when you realize that, oh, actually, I am a true horror fan. I love horror. You know, everything else is just boring. You know, you can watch it, but it's boring. It doesn't give you the satisfaction that horror does, you know, for us horror fans.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the jump scares, and we love to be scared. It's very, very rare that a film will make me scared. In fact, they don't anymore. But
no,
this one actually had me on the. Yeah,
I love the jump scare. I love it because I'm like, oh, you got me. Yes, well done, you sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I'm like always applauding the screen. Good, yes, you got me. The last movie that did that was the Black Phone. Got me twice.
Oh,
and I knew it was coming. The two scenes I knew it was coming. The one with the kids in the thing, they still got me in the cinema. I'm like, you got me, and I knew it because I seen the trailer. I'm like, bravo, you know, that sort of thing.
Yeah, that film.
Oh, welcome to chat. Castellar Danielle Garcia. I hope I pronounced that right. Housebound and the Innkeepers are great. Never heard of that one. Is that a New Zealand horror?
Housebound.
I'll have to look that one up. I haven't heard that one. I'll have to look that one up.
Here's another one. Homemade or something? Is that what he's talking about? I can't remember what it's called. But no, when I was looking it up, this was the only. There were some other housebound movies actually, but they weren't from this. So I'm not too sure what that is.
Oh, the Innkeepers. My apologies. I thought that was right. So obviously, Housebound is an American supernatural one. Okay.
Right.
We'll bung it in the list. There's another one for the list. Oh my god! Right, these are all going to be stuck with me some weekend, and we're doing a marathon to catch up because people keep going. Watch this, read this, watch it. I'm like, there's only 24 hours. I can only do so much. You're doing so much caffeine before it wears off.
You have to clone yourself.
That's it. Just have 20 of me, you know, lined up in front of the screens. Okay, we're gonna. I still wouldn't catch up. There's more than enough movies. I want to watch it all. You know, I do want to try and watch everything, but there's no mission. Tubi came back to the UK finally. And Steve was asking me, oh, have you seen Tubi? I'm like, I'm not looking at it because there's another rabbit hole. I've already got websites and I've already got subscriptions. I've already got my physical media. I don't need any more lists of more stuff that I know I'm not going to get to watch yet. I still haven't got to see. Let's see what come out there. Maxine, I haven't got to see Maxine yet. I want to try and get that done this weekend.
Right.
Yeah, it came out last week, and I haven't got the chance to see it. I still haven't seen Abigail. I heard that's a hoot. Sorry, excuse me. Flip sake, that's really rude. So you know what I mean. The more movies are coming out, I'm like, hold on, I'm still catching up.
Oh, no.
Next week's the quiet week. Next week's the one to try and catch up with everything because I've like busy week, quiet week with the stream.
Yes. That's good.
This is busy week. Although I'm now looking at horror anime every other Friday, so that's another one that's just more lists of stuff.
my goodness. Don't burn yourself out, buddy.
Oh, no, I try not to. Every so often I just need to switch off, but it's...
Yeah.
But yeah, this movie has so many layers, and it tackles some serious topics, family, abandonment, addiction, relationships, flipping abuse, and straight out murder. It's all there with a dark humor underlay. It's
Oh, hell yeah.
really irreverent.
They pulled it off, eh? Yeah. I mean, especially with the character of Mum, she really carried it through, didn't she? So she was, she's amazing. She's an amazing actress too. I don't know who Kylie is, but I do recognise Rewati Tawaita, I think her name is. She's quite a very famous actress over here once upon a time ago, but her acting in this was just so comical. She was just deadpan, and when she's asking about the iPhone and then being quite facetious about the ankle bracelet. Oh, expensive jewelry, and it was just like, oh my god, where are we going with this? And then because I thought this was going to be a full-on horror, but it wasn't. So it was a really nice surprise to have that lightness in there. I think
they could have went the other direction with this. They could have went the dark direction, but it would have been very intense, but then would have lost so much. The comedic moments in this are so good that it would have been a waste not to have it. This couldn't have been anything else. Like when the moments of levity through the comedy and some of the ridiculous characters, but they're dialed back enough that you can take them seriously. And you just this insane situation. So it turns out Kylie and her mum have basically fell out because Kylie heard stuff when she was growing up, and then her mum decided that she was just going to, put the blinkers on and not hear stuff anymore. It's that whole thing. You see them too, don't you? And, the other one that seen it has then decided that they're not going to because they want to fit in. And I think it's that betrayal is what's, when we get through the plot, it's that actual moment of betrayal that set the whole chain of events off.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I grew up in a haunted house. Nobody in my house ever saw anything. I saw them all the time. And when you're a child and you're telling your parents, there really is a monster in my wardrobe, my dressing gowns were flying around the room last night, oh, it's okay, you were just having a nightmare. I'm like, how could I be having a nightmare when I was wide awake? I don't get it. So I can see why Kylie's fallen out with her mum, because her mum didn't believe her. All these things she was hearing and seeing and all that stuff was actually happening, right?
Mm-hmm. And then her mum did believe her. Do you remember her mum saw them too? And then her mum decided she was going to flip and tell everybody that she didn't.
Yeah, exactly.
So her mum did see them too. That's why I'm saying it's a betrayal, because her mum saw them too. They both had the bond that they were going through the same thing. And then her mum decided, and this is her whole character, you see it, she's just brushing everything off and almost putting a bubble around herself not to deal with the reality. Yes. Oh, everything's all nice and jolly. Oh, lovely. She's put on that sort of persona. And Kylie saw it as the biggest betrayal. And I think part of the stuff that was going on is what had the father leave, because it was hinted at, but not, it doesn't over-explain, but there's enough nuance and explanation to hint, right? Because of the scratching in the wall, the noises, and both Kylie and her mum at one point believed that there was something there. I think after the father left, and this is all subtext, by the way, it's not, I could be completely wrong, but the father left because of mother and daughter both seeing stuff and he didn't, and he didn't want to deal with it. And then I think after he left, that the mum decided she wasn't going to see anything anymore. She made that conscious choice. Kylie then saw it as a betrayal, and then that set Kylie off the rails. And then this whole chain of events happened, which brought her right back where she started again. So they both had to deal with
Yeah.
this. And that's what the whole story is about, is them both having to confront
Yeah.
what's going on. And that is clever story writing. There's writers that would love to write a story like that.
Oh, I know, right? I mean, the whole wraparound, right? Straight there. It resolved everything. There was no loose ends. The writing must have been freaking brilliant. The writer must be absolutely just amazing. I should look into that and see if it was a book. Anyway,
I don't think it was. I think it was just a
that
pure, straight up screenplay. That
pure film.
yeah,
I think so because
and that's allowed. Once again, not to take away from books, because I love books and reading and writing, but filmmaking is its own art form, and there's nothing wrong with making something. Doesn't have to always be a bloody adaptation. It's allowed to have
no,
new
it
ideas.
doesn't. Yeah,
and this movie,
a lot of New Zealand filmmakers do adapt New Zealand books, so that's why I thought it could possibly, because we do that. I don't know why, but
it's a bit of a crutch, I think. You've got your built-in audience for the book, and I think it's a lack of confidence. If an established filmmaker with their own ideas then decides to adapt the book, fair enough. But if all you're doing is adapting other material, you're not really a creator, as in you're an adapter.
No.
You're not you don't have the actual idea yourself.
You're right. Yep, you did right. Yep, absolutely. But no, this movie is quite poignant in places. I actually felt a little bit of emotion through it. Yeah. I don't know if you did, but I did.
Oh yeah, because I wouldn't be talking the way I was talking if it didn't.
Yeah, it gives you something. I don't know. It just makes you think. That's what I really like about movies like this, is they make you think, and they make you internalize. If you're a deep thinker or whatever, you do internalize some of that stuff, and because it was all revolved around trauma and mother and daughter breaking up relationship, and then the whole plot thing about what happens at the end, which is really, really amazing to resolution. I was really, really happy with that. Because there's so much going on in this film.
Oh yeah,
there's quite a lot going on. I mean, it's nearly 2 hours long.
Yeah, and I thought it could have benefited maybe from having 15 minutes or so shaved off it. But I think I was lucky towards the end. It didn't. I was starting to think, oh my God, they're stretching this out. But there's enough going on. But Kylie's back in the house and she's starting to hear stuff again. I think it's bringing back memories of when she lived there, and then the phone going off and she can't determine where the hell it is. And then she goes down to the basement. The massive Jesus statue.
I mean, oh God, who has one of those in their basement? I mean, even if I had one, I wouldn't tell anyone, but oh my
God. But we'll find out why.
Yes. We do. Yeah, but that was a freaky part, wasn't it? And that was kind of gave me a bit of a jump, but it was like, oh God.
that would be the horror for me.
To pop out.
Living with a hoarder. That would just, I couldn't.
I couldn't do it either. I just couldn't. It's actually a mental illness now.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's 100% a compulsion. It's it's fine.
Oh God,
sorry, Chris, didn't see that, mate. Chris says, you've mentioned New Zealand horror style before. I was curious how it differs from American humor. And what country would my jokes be funny in? Because it's sure not this one. Chris, man. There's a dark element to New Zealand humor. It's a bit like Brit humor. There's a gallows humor. It's just that irreverence to tragedy and event. It's actually it's that whole stiff upper lip, make the best of a situation. You know, make hay while the sunshine sort of thing. It's like, oh well, everything's went there at you, but it could be raining. You know, it's that you know, there's devastation all around you, but you're like, oh well, at least it could be worse, and then you just come off with something completely inappropriate. That's I think both humors, you know, similar. Old school British humor, because modern British humor went to Americanized because of London twats who have
Yeah,
no personality of their own, so they latch on to anything else. But old school,
it
like
did.
northern UK humor and outland British Isles, still has that. Down the south, they're weak as water, so they don't. There's a massive difference between north and south in the UK. Just in
Yes,
terms of
really.
oh yeah, between culture and attitudes and everything else. But yeah, it's
Yeah.
just that American humor is
It's
very slapsticky, isn't it?
cliche. Yeah, it is. And it's very cliche. Like
Mm.
you see it coming, right?
Yeah,
You see the humor, or it's very the hangover series, very, very just
you
stupid,
laugh once
sorry.
maybe at the oh haha sort of, not even like full belly
Yeah,
laugh, but you laugh once, but then you never watch it again, and you never laugh a second time.
no, seriously. I love my American friends, but they cannot do dark humor mixed with horror.
Oh,
They just can't do it. No. And the difference is, Kiwis, we're really, really, I mean, we're far away from everybody else, So we've had a lot of influences from America, Australia, and the UK, I think. So we've got all that mixed into our culture now as well. So we are, how can
but
I
you've made it your
explain
own.
this?
You know what I mean? It's not like you're.
Yeah, that's what we do. That's what we do. We take something and it's the darkest possible thing you could think of to happen, right? And we turn it into to make it relevant, but also to add a little bit of dark New Zealand humor into it that makes people like, it does make people laugh, and you can watch it again because it is quite funny. But American, yeah, all I think of is sitcoms.
Oh god, with the canned laughter as opposed to actual.
That's right,
Yeah,
canned laughter.
it's
Yeah,
fake.
that's what
It's
I see. Yeah, yeah,
here's an example actually, and seeing Chris is on. When we did not us, but when Cameron and I reviewed the Pillow Party Massacre remake, both Cameron and Chris found that funny because it was 100%
right.
American humor.
Okay.
And I'm just watching it going, are the jokes going to start yet? Because
Yeah.
I just did not. I know, I mean, and if you watch that review, you couldn't get more difference of opinions. And I was the odd man out because I'm
What?
just like, I didn't laugh once. I was just like, when's the comedy starting? They said this was a comedy, and I'm not seeing any. And I just completely,
Yeah.
you know, not. But then
Yeah.
again, somebody might watch this, like an American might watch this and not laugh at
Yes.
all,
Yeah.
purely because it's a different style of humor, you know. And you know what? That's
Yeah.
allowed. I hate this
Yeah.
attempt to homogenize everything because that's boring.
It is. It is boring.
I
It is.
hate that. You know, that's why you've got different
Mm.
humors and you've got different cultures and you've got different thought processes, because it's the differences that make the world interesting.
Yeah. Absolutely. And there is a difference between humor and wit. I think we pull off wit very, very well.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Americans do the comedy, but they don't use wit, if you know what I mean. So
Yeah, it's more
like
slapstick. There's more sort of the
yeah, yeah,
the
very predicted.
the cleverest American comedies to me would be the Airplane series and the Police Academy series.
Yes, the Police Academy series, they were great. They were
I can
great.
still laugh at those, and it just has
Yeah,
that right blend that, it's appealing. It's, yes, it's an American comedy, but there's enough that it's managed to be its own unique thing.
Yeah.
The Naked Gun series, not so much. That's where it went a bit on the knuckle.
Yeah, true.
I think with the Naked Gun series, it got telegraphed a bit too much. But definitely, Police Academy to me would be the cleverest, because they use the slapstick, but they also use undertones and a bit of innuendo. So you dig a bit deeper to get the humor, and then you're like,
Yeah.
But I guess there's a lot of
the Die Hard series. That was hilarious. I found it hilarious. I loved it. The Die Hard
true enough, actually,
series.
yeah.
It was, Bruce Willis's. Yeah, very, 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 very full on action packed. But then he's got those
sort of quirky one. Yeah. I suppose that's a fair one.
And all these. Yeah.
Comedic moments. Trying to think what else.
Anyway, we're not talking about comedy.
But it's this is a comedy horror at the end of the day, and it's just interesting that, and that's why we have these conversations. That's why we don't do a pre-recorded. That's what I keep trying to say to folks to join in for the live chat, because that's why we don't do a pre-recorded. Oh, this movie was great. I like this point. Oh, and the writing was spectacular. I bore myself. Never mind the audience. You know what I mean? That's not the point of these discussions. It's get a random comment. We'll go off on a wee tangent, but it's still relevant because we're talking about, like, say somebody didn't enjoy this movie. To me, it's more important to say why it might not land with some people or why it would, than to go, this is what I hate as well, and horror seems to be just as bad as everyone else. You're not a real horror fan if you didn't like it. You're a dick. What use is that to anybody?
I know.
Do you know what I mean?
This judge bullshit.
You have to like this movie to be on our team, and if you're not on our team, and we hate you. What does that actually achieve?
Nothing. It's mean and nasty. Yeah, people are mean, nasty creatures. Very, very much so. And I'm thinking, I don't really think I've watched an actual New Zealand horror. They've all had comedy in them.
Maybe it's just our picks. Yeah. But that might be just the style of story. Yeah, that's your style of storytelling, which there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Maybe the idea culturally to do like a completely serious, but like over like there's one Northern Irish horror I've watched, Mandrake, which is on the channel. I've done a review of it, and it's super dark and it's super Northern Irish. You know what I mean? It is proper what we're about, the bleakness of the storytelling. Like, we're talking about old worldly, bleak storytelling, and that's the whole sort of, old British Isle, English, Celtic, old school storytelling. That's what it was, and that really comes through. I do not think we could pull off a movie like this, because it would just be completely against our grain, our culture, if that makes sense. And it would be awkward.
Yes. And it wouldn't fit right.
No.
It wouldn't be right. It would feel wrong, and people would be like up in arms about, oh, how could you turn such a serious situation into a joke? It's not a joke what happened in 18 blah 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 blah.
Yeah, it just wouldn't.
Famine or whatever. It's not a fucking joke, But Kiwis seem to laugh at the most diabolical things, and I think it's our way of coping, if you know what I mean. It's our way of coping.
Am I secretly a Kiwi and I didn't know?
Pardon?
Am I secretly a Kiwi?
Are you a Kiwi?
And I didn't know?
Yeah, you might be.
Because I laugh at the darkest shit.
Yeah.
I do laugh. If I see something really... My instant reaction is go, bah! And I mean, it's not a fake laugh. It's made, I'm genuinely, if I see some messed up stuff and I'm just like, bah! And that is me. And I'm proper, like, tears tripping me with laughter, loving it,
That was me at the end of this film. That very last scene had me pissing myself. Oh my God. And I'm just like, I must be so naughty to be laughing at that. Crazy.
But
Great
that's
stuff.
I do. I just have a maniacal side to me that just loves chaos. I think because I'm generally a very ordered, organized person. So my release
Yeah.
is just to see absolute carnage and chaos. That's kind of my release because I'm like, this is. I would break if I was in this for real. I would break, but I'm just so hilarious that it could happen, and just let it go.
Oh, I know the things we do.
Yeah.
The things we like.
What was it? I always check. Why did I put that? Was that the basement, the electric and stuff, the fuses? It was like I
Oh,
always. It's not a
that
problem. I
was
always check.
awesome.
Poof! Everything goes off.
Yeah. Yeah. That was an awesome scene. Very dark. Go and check the old fuses. Oh God, they're so old school.
Like that's that's every horror movie ever. Oh, I'll go into the basement by myself while spooky stuff's going on. Yeah, you crack on with that.
Yeah. We'll just wait here, thanks.
But what we'll
God.
find out over the course of time in this movie is the house that they bought. The reason they got it so cheap was because it was actually an asylum that got closed down.
Yes.
And you're like, okay, we're getting a bit of a Amityville vibes, but who the hell leaves case
Yeah.
files, like boxes of case files behind her? How is that stuff never cleared out? Is there not a regulation where if an institution closes down, some government agency comes in and goes, we're having those?
Yeah. But I'm thinking they've done a runner or something, but no, I don't understand why they would leave them there, but it worked. They needed it,
Yeah,
just
the plot
to
needed to
prove.
happen, and this is where
Yeah,
it
yeah.
had to be a comedy. Because
Yeah,
that stuff would not fly, half the plot wouldn't
it
fly.
would. Yeah, no,
So it's why it
definitely.
needed to be a comedy because like all the case files and yeah, sure, we'll just leave people's personal, and the place closed under a dark cloud. So there's obviously no
Yeah,
investigation, just closed doors, went, oh well, that was a tragedy. Carry
yeah.
on.
Didn't make sense. No, not in the real world. It does not make sense, but in the
Mm.
comedy world, it does.
Yeah, and that's but the way I like Kylie's character, the way she transformed throughout the movie. Because obviously she started off,
You
she was insufferable.
Mm. You actually see the physical change in her. Like, she's all dark, long, black hair, all emo looking, black makeup, all that sort of stuff. And then there's a scene later on where she actually looks like they've taken all her makeup off and they've made her look really quite young. And I like that. I like that transformation. I thought that was really well done. Just something as subtle as taking off her makeup to make her look younger, to get us to invest in her character. Because at the beginning, she was just like, "Oh, you're just a fucking mess, chick. You need to sort your shit out."
Yeah, and the
And the
manufactured
attitude.
emo, yeah, the manufactured emo attitude, which I used to find that attractive, believe it or not, when I was in my early 20s. The smoky
Yeah,
eyes and all that. And I used to think, oh, I'd love to have an emo partner or a rock chick partner. And then I grew up and realized that it just was not worth the drama. Because
yeah. Oh God,
it's
yeah.
like, that's okay for a Saturday night, a nightclub sort of thing. But when you're actually trying to like build a life and, go on and be an adult, it doesn't work.
No, definitely not.
But I'm glad we saw a
But it's
transformation.
yes, great. It was. Yeah, I also see the transformation of mum too.
Mm.
You know, being that nasty, cynical, sort of sarcastic woman to actually there's a moment in there when you see mum's wants to reach out and touch her daughter, and her daughter's like, no, don't get away from me, don't touch me, sort of thing. And it's like, oh, that's so sad. Oh,
Yeah, but as we get a
Mm.
reason for it, that's the problem with today and today's storytelling is they just do it for the sake of doing it. They don't have any reason. Where we get a whole storyline here, and a lot of it is subtext, but it's there of why this has happened.
Yeah.
And why both parties need to both work if they want to heal things,
Yeah.
and then they do need each other.
Yeah.
And that's always a great
They
motivator.
do.
So
Yeah.
we'll see that get played out, which
Yes.
stories can't do that today. It really annoys me. Because it's not like it's an alien concept. We've seen it done. Here's an example of it being done. A clever storyline and character development. And and I'm sick of the excuse of, because not to go into identity politics, but here's two women leads. And guess what? I saw myself in them. Is that okay? Or is that not allowed?
Yeah. No, it is okay. Yeah, absolutely.
You know, is that against my misogyny brain? You know, to identify with a female lead, to go, oh, I see a bit of myself there. You know, have I committed a crime?
No, you haven't. Some people might be offended, but no, absolutely. No. I hear you.
People use that excuse today because they're just hiding shit storytelling because they're talentless hacks. That's, that is my 100% reserve. I will not change that opinion, because here's another example of the many of the, I don't know how many videos is on this channel now, but there's one or two where I have seen characters of every creed and color and whatever, and because it's a good character, I've went, I get you. I see a bit of myself.
Yeah.
I see a bit of those circumstances where I could be in.
Yeah.
And it's all of a sudden, it's like people think that after 2016, this is a brand new concept. And you're like, let's just look at the entirety of film history. It's all there. It's been done. Yeah, maybe not in fucking quotas or percentages that people are looking for. But that you're only doing that because, not you, but I mean, the general you are only doing that because they just want to stir the pot, and they're hacks at the end of the day. They're just grifters, and it's an excuse, easy to make an excuse. Like Kelly with her addiction, deciding to go off the rails. It was her mum, she used an excuse, but at the end of the day, it was her own choice.
Exactly. And I mean, here we go again with another moral put into horror that you don't see in other genres so much. You might see it maybe in a bit some thrillers and some dramas and stuff like that, but this was the perfect example of the breakdown in a family relationship, and between that, I mean, especially with your daughter. I mean, there's just so many relevant things in there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the angst of a teenager, why teenagers or young adults end up hating their parents and blaming all the shit on their parents. So they end up getting into drugs and alcohol and crime. And, one day, children, you have to wake the fuck up and take responsibility for own shit and stop blaming your parents. We didn't tell you to go and tag the building. We didn't buy you the spray paint. We didn't fucking give you money so you can go spend it on alcohol, Jesus, you're far out.
Yeah.
This really actually did an emotional roller coaster ride for me, actually. It just made me think, they're pointing out a real good issue here, and that is that these excuses that children use, okay, because they're also having problems because they've had to leave. They've left the nest. They no longer have mum and to do their washing and the dishes and cooking and all that sort of stuff. And you know, your parents are like, well, you know, you go out into the world, find yourself a job and a partner and all that sort of stuff. But you know, the minute shit hits the fan, they blame it on the parents. You know, and in some instances that possibly is the case. You know, because there's a lot of parents that have to work, but kids, oh my God, they're not even kids anymore. They're young adults, you know. And I mean, look at Kylie's attitude. I mean, no wonder she got a fucking slap. Oh my God.
Oh, not
I
even
wanted to
from
slap
her.
her.
She got slapped. Did her mother slap her as well?
Oh, I can't remember. Oh no, I think she was going to. Was she going to?
I
She
think it
wanted
was.
to.
God, what do you call him? The
Amos,
Amos,
the
parole board.
probation officer.
That was
He reminded me of Sergeant Marker.
Do you know what? I have a thing here. When the police officers arrived, see if I had been O'Leary and Minogue.
That would have been perfect. Oh, that would have just topped off my year.
That would have just been like, yes.
Yes. Yeah, honestly, I really did expect them to walk in, but it didn't happen. But that Amos reminds me of Sergeant Marker from Wellington Paranormal. He really did. Yeah.
And he became a strange sort of, once I mentioned, it was I think we've got ghosts. He's like, ding! And all of a sudden he comes back with all the gear and he's like, just on board. No permission asked or anything. Just, I'm doing this. And
oh, I know. I mean, when they were saying, oh, you know, my mum thinks the house is haunted, and then he got his dictaphone thing. And he's using it as an
come on, this is your field. You know all the kit. You know the names.
Yes. So for an electronic voice phenomena, so that mic drop. When as soon as he did that, I was just like, oh my God, this dude is awesome. He's a probation officer. He's really cool, and he's a ghost investigator. Oh my God. He had it all. He was a really good character, eh?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if the film would have been as good without him.
He really brought that extra element, and then the major misdirect with the neighbor.
Yes.
I'm terrible with names. I did not put their names down.
That was awesome.
But you kind of knew it wasn't him. Like you knew it was one of it was too
obvious.
It was pure slapstick of it's not him, but we got to go through the motions anyway to find out what's really happening.
Yes, because he's the one that reveals everything about the person, the person in question. Yeah. So no, that was cool. Actually, that was a cool little side story, especially with that. Oh look, I'll give you half an hour. I'll with the monitor ankle. I'll give you half an hour to get in and get out, sort of thing. And then, oh my God, when she was trying to take his teeth out.
Oh my God, yes.
I squirmed. I was like, oh God, just imagine having to do that. And it didn't even work. But
that's sort of more in the slapstick. As I said, if this had been like super serious, a lot of these scenes just wouldn't have landed. We needed that humor because, like I said, the whole dark premise of the story and the stuff, the when the subtext and stuff going on, the humor just made you go, yeah, and then you're going to go, oh no, and you can. The intensity of the scenes, you can put yourself there going, if I was in that room trying to do that, I'd be freaking out too. You felt it.
I know. It does. It draws you in, doesn't it? It really draws you in and makes you think. It really makes you think, like, oh my God, she's nuts if she thinks she can do that.
But that's just good character acting. once again, these are the things that don't cost money. You know, everyone talks about the budget and the effects and blah, 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 why I can't make a good movie or can't do that. No, first of all, have your good script. And then you don't have to be well known or super famous. You just have to be committed. And it's the same as somebody's going to be an actor or an actress. Well, guess what? Just because it's a shitty B movie, don't be shit on it. Christopher Lee said that. Yes, at some point you're going to be in a bad movie. The secret's not to be bad in it. And that holds true. I hate people that dial in performances and don't care. Just because they think, oh, well, this isn't a famous movie. It's like, well, it's your whole CV.
Yeah, it is right. And we've seen that with Sir Peter Jackson. You know, everybody jumping on board and everyone's coming together and things that people are doing things for free. And, you know, I mean,
wanted it to happen. They wanted it to be a success. And then when he got up the ladder, guess what he did? He brought his people with him.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So, yeah. And yeah, I forgot what I was going to say. There's something about it anyway, about Kylie. But yeah, no. Where do we get up to?
Well, basically they're searching next door house because they think that it turns out that obviously the asylum, the young girl got killed. We think she's the one haunting the house. We've got the major misdirect because I think the neighbor did it.
Yes.
And of course he's your stereotypical, you know, backwoods. What do you
hillbilly.
I know.
Country
bumpkin. The Americans call them hillbillies. We call them culchies. Do you have a word in New Zealand?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, we just call them hillbillies.
Oh, you call them hillbillies?
Yeah. But we don't really have hillbillies, not really. The people who live in the country are farmers, so I don't know why we make jokes about. I think that we do it because of America. You know, that hillbilly sort of mentality. I think that's just.
Do you know where that term came from?
Another country. I'd like to know. Yeah.
It's actually the emigration of the people of Ulster, because the general name for somebody from Ulster is Billy. And when the first sort of immigrants went across from Ulster, because there's a whole thing Ulster folk park now, because most of them were called Billy and they went to live up in the hills, they were known as hillbillies. Sorry, that's our fault.
Is this when they immigrated? When they immigrated to America during the potato?
Well, not even just that. There's always been ever since the 13 colonies, there's always been a whole migration from Ulster. Believe it or not, a lot of Irish Americans are actually Ulster Scots, and they just don't know it because they're morons.
Oh my goodness!
And then they fund 40-year terrorist campaigns to kill us, even though that they're actually from us and not the other side, who the European Celts that came in during the Roman Empire. But we'll not get into that because that will upset a few people because it goes against the narrative.
Oh, wow.
History's fun.
Okay, so now I understand why Americans get really upset about that term, hillbillies.
Probably as well, but it's just,
that makes sense.
It was the original settlers, were mainly from Oma and Tyrone, actually, just the southern countries, mainly that sort of area, and others, because rather than there was only so much space in Belfast with the docks, that, so it's that whole thing of, right, well, there's only so many opportunities, and here's a chance to go and make a new life, and that's what they did.
Wow. My goodness. Oh, wow.
But then a couple of years
that's
breeding with their relatives in farmyards to get the plastic patty, which is a completely different species.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Need to brush up on my history.
Yeah.
No, but that element with him in there was really, really good. I thought that was a cool little side story, especially when Amos went over and he was like banging into things and he's clumsy and
just bullying the china shop. I like the way the guy just waited outside.
Yes, that was that made it even more creepier, right?
Yeah.
It gave an element of suspense and like what's going to happen when he goes outside because he hasn't seen him yet, and oh God. And then when he gets caught in the trap, caught in the trap,
Mm-hmm.
that bloody trap with and then she covers him over with the back of the truck.
the
I thought
car,
that was quite ingenious.
Once
She's
again,
actually, I mean, she's streetwise. That's what she is. She's streetwise. What about her taking out the porcelain? What do you call those things? Spark plug to crack a window. Because the only thing that will crack a window is porcelain. I mean, how amazing is that? Of course, she's just a character, but they made her quite streetwise. I mean, she went and got the porcelain so that she could smash a window. That's just brilliant. I don't know if anyone else got that, but I got it from watching another program that's what cracks windows. So if you don't have in your car when you're if you accidentally end up in the water, you can't break your car window. There's nothing in the car that will do that, and the only thing is a little bit of porcelain. So if anybody wants to know that, if you need to break your window, you use porcelain, you know. And the fact that she knew that, I thought that was brilliant that they put that bit in there.
Yeah, but kind of shows as well her wasted life, that she has intelligence, she has the ability to think things, but she didn't do anything with it.
Yeah, she didn't, and it also led her down a darker path, I suppose.
But then the skills that she picked up came in useful, because if she had been goody two shoes and just went to college, etc., then she wouldn't be able to do anything.
No.
So once again, do you know what? I like nuanced characters that aren't just black and white. Imagine that.
Yes.
Imagine having a wee bit of nuance and a bit more to them that you have to figure them out.
Yes. It just makes it that much more enjoyable to watch, especially when you see a character's development by the end of it, when they've had a transformation or an epiphany or enlightenment or whatever. To see them at the end from where they were at the beginning really pulls it off. Really makes it. I think it makes for a successful film. When they do that, yeah.
So that started going. I was getting sort of Stir of Echoes vibe. If you've seen that film,
no, I haven't.
Kevin Bacon.
No, I don't think I have.
Oh, it's actually a really good movie.
Is it?
Yeah, it's a paranormal.
No, I haven't heard of it.
It'd be right up your alley too. It's a paranormal one.
Oh, I'll have to watch it.
Murder mystery, you know.
Especially Kevin Bacon. I love Kevin Bacon.
So he starts to get visitations, you know, when they move into a new house, and he's getting the messages, and basically he's trying to discover what happened, you know, why he's being haunted. And it turns into a whole, you know, solving a mystery, and I'll not spoil it for you. It's really good. And there's a reason why. Do you know my whole thing, ghosts are stupid? This actually explains why the messages are garbled. And quite tactfully and tastefully. Yep.
Wow.
And it's one of the only paranormal movies I actually enjoy because it's clever. Because a lot of them are just, you know, you're just bashing your head against the wall because it's like, why is this happening? It doesn't make sense. Oh, you just want to spin out the plot.
Yeah.
So I was getting that sort of vibe that, okay, the messages aren't coming through too well. There's a reason behind it. Blah, blah, blah. And as we go along, then obviously the next door neighbor, he explains, we find out about Eugene. And that's a new element brought in to this whole thing. And
and that was way halfway through. You know, they introduced him in. Yeah.
I think they introduced him late enough that it wasn't obvious, but early enough to get that side. Do you know why a lot of movies do that, like the last 15 minutes?
Yep.
Because, this is a murder mystery. 9 times out of 10, you've met the character that's causing it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's the way murder mysteries work, is you, off the pool of characters, you know, one of them is the instigator, the culprit, because that's what you're trying to do, is pick up the clues to narrow it down. You know, it's classic storytelling. But a lot of movies, because they're trying to be subversive today, leave that all to the last 15 minutes. So you've got jump scare, jump scare, jump scare, jump scare. The Conjuring series is terrible for it.
Yes.
Like, everyone raves
Yes.
over that movie like it's high art or something. It's like, no, it's one of the most mainstream jump scare things out there,
It
and
is.
everything's led up right to the last 15 minutes. Oh, and then they cram it all in. And those sort of movies do annoy me because it's so formulaic and it's badly done.
It is.
And they do all the wrong things again and again and again. It's like, come on.
Yep. But no, didn't really have to worry about that with this one.
No. So we get the
Fortunately.
character of Eugene
No.
thrown in, and now we don't know. Everything's thrown open
Now
again.
we don't. Yeah, it is. It started all over again.
Yep. You probably noticed, folks, we're trying not to spoil this because it's worth the watch.
It is worth it.
So we're trying here not to spoil the plot because you got to check this one out. If it was a terrible movie, we'd just be like, here, let's just tell you, save you the pain of having to actually watch it. That's kind of my attitude anyway.
Yeah, mine too. I don't want to spoil it. Definitely not.
Yeah.
It's a great movie. Yeah.
So
I'm glad I watched it.
We follow the Eugene storyline, and then we see how it pieces into everything else. Then we get the next plot reveal. This is sort of towards the end of the movie.
Yeah, I didn't like him from the first time I saw him. I knew there was something fishy about him.
But
don't know what it was.
Yeah. But it was telegraphed so well. Like, it's properly telegraphed there, but then the misdirects, you almost forget about the character until it was time to come back in. But it wasn't like he just thrown in there last minute. The setup was there from the start of the movie.
The setup was there. Yep.
And it was just the reveal, and you're just like, oh, what? How did I miss that?
Yeah, the way the plot came together at the end was like, wow. Wow, that was really, really, really well done. When they figured out everything.
Yeah.
But I mean, the character of Eugene, he was amazing, wasn't he? What an awesome character.
That could have been a two-dimensional character as well.
Yeah.
He could have just been a plot device.
But that's what I thought he was going to be. That's exactly what. But then when I figured out how clever he actually is, it was just like, oh wow, no. There was a part in there which I won't spoil, but there was a part in there when I started to think, oh, he's just a numbnut, because he's been where he was for how many years. He obviously would be dense, wouldn't be able to talk, wouldn't be intelligent or anything, but he blew me out of the water. I was just like, it was a complete turnaround from what I initially had expected to come from someone who's been in that position for that long. Completely different. I was shocked. I was shocked at how well adjusted and how intelligent he ended up being, and funny.
And he had an arc. He had a story arc as well.
He did.
So we'll have.
That's right.
We've effectively 3 redemption arcs here. We've got the mums, we've got Kylie's, and we've got Eugene's. All of them have their guilt and their circumstances that led them where they led them, and then they all have the redemption arcs in them. Like, who the hell tells story like this today?
I know.
Nobody can weave one plot line together today in a movie.
I know. Line 3 or 4. Yeah.
We've got various, character, roller coaster and the hero's journey going on multiple times in multiple different ways, and tying together into a movie. Like, that's I just
brilliant filmmaking, director. Yep. Top notch.
Yep.
Absolutely.
They need to start when they're training police officers. They need to start being taught how to touch type. Oh, that was that scene in the police station was just
that was painful. I actually know a cop who can't spell. get that. How did he get in the police force when he can't spell? So yeah, there you go. Says a little bit about us, doesn't it? About our police force. Yes.
It's the state of ours.
Oh, that's a slight exaggeration, but yeah, they're pretty slow. Oh, that poor cop. Never mind.
Yeah.
What happened? Oh dear.
And then everything just ramps up towards the last 15 minutes or so. And there's a certain bit, about the hour and a half point, I thought everything had sort of been wrapped up. And then it went on, and I'm like, oh, what the hell? Oh no. I was worried.
Yep. What were they going to do with that, with the last half hour? It was kind of, the last hour actually, because 15 minutes was quite long.
No, at the last 15 minutes of the movie, it got to the hour and a half point, and it looked like everything was sort of wrapped up. And then there's another 15 minutes of the movie, and I'm like, what the hell are they doing? Are they just going to drag the storyline out? And I was like, oh God, they've just undone all the work. But thankfully, they didn't do that. There was enough plot. Now, could this have been tied up? Yes. Absolutely. I think this movie would be amazing if they got it down to an hour and a half. Oh my God, this could be one of the absolute gems out there. It's the only complaint I have. It got a wee bit bloated because I think they didn't know how to finish it.
Yeah, I mean, even the way they finished it was unexpected. It was, mind you, it was 8 months. It was 8 months later.
Yeah, they did a time jump, but still, they had a chance for a cliffhanger ending. They had a chance for it all to be wrapped up, and to me, they kind of pushed on a wee bit too far after that. And it's my only complaint, because it's like maybe they just didn't want to finish in a traditional horror movie sense, which I would get. Because it was a traditional ending at the hour and a half point, but at the same time, they've done so well. There was nothing wrong with that at this point. I mean, there's an engaging story. There would be nothing wrong with just finishing at that particular scene. With the rooftop and stuff. I mean, there'd be nothing wrong with finishing that scene and wrapping the movie up, because we were on board for the ride.
Absolutely.
I was starting to get more worried that last 15 minutes, because I'm like, this is not needed. Yeah.
It's like wondering what is going to happen in the last half an hour was what I was thinking. I think there were some drawn out scenes, especially at the beginning. I think they could have done that a little bit better. A little bit. They didn't need to have so much history in there, I suppose. And I think the way they ended it was in a light way, because as opposed to some, the ending could have been when they came off the roof, and then everything's fine. But I think they needed the epilogue just to wind it down, and not to do the horror thing, just to let people know.
Yeah, they didn't want a traditional horror ending. I get that.
Yeah.
But also
that let them know that 8 months later, they're still in the same place, if you know what I mean, and they've still got Eugene hanging around.
But there's an understanding, and it moves on to the next one, which, I was all for that. Like I said, if they had just tightened it up a bit, that's all they need to do is maybe shave 10, 15 minutes off this. You have an amazing sort of really roller coaster ride. Yeah, the bit of the slow start.
Yeah.
Because all we need to do is put her in a position. Fair enough. So that sort of bit after the ATM attempt, and that bit, I could see them maybe tightening that up a bit. They didn't owe us any spectacular, a traditional ending would have been fine for this movie. They didn't owe us any more, because they gave us a gripping storyline. So I wouldn't have felt cheated, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, neither. But no, all in all, it was a bloody good watch. I'm so glad I watched it.
Really happy. I really enjoyed myself, and I like that. I did not know what they expect coming in this movie.
Yeah, I I was hoping to God it was not going to be like Killer Sofa. Oh my God, I just had this. Oh, I know. I just thought when I saw her, I thought, no, they're not. They're
Well,
not
she
going to
wasn't
do
dancing.
Killer Sofa.
She wasn't dancing and making.
Oh,
That scene will make me laugh this day where she's on the, and not at the comedy, but her sitting on the sofa, crossing her legs in a sexy manner, pouring it. I'm like, nobody does that. What are you doing, you balloon? I'll never forget that scene to me.
oh,
It
I
had
wouldn't even
all the
forget it
opposite
either.
effect of what she was trying to do.
Oh, absolutely.
uh,
Absolutely ridiculous. But
that's still
anyway,
that's still one of my favorite reviews, to be honest with you, Del.
God.
My face hurt after reviewing that movie with you. That's
do.
still one of my favorite ones to this day. I
Oh,
still yeah, God, that was, we need to, I don't, I'm, you know when we talk about chasing the dragon, like the horror fan always wants to be scared. I want another movie as
yeah.
daft as that. I do. I want to do another review with a movie as daft as that, where I'm just laughing at the ridiculousness of it, because that was amazing. That was, I had more
Oh,
fun reviewing it than watching it, because it was just, what the hell is this?
yes. Exactly. Oh,
Oh
God,
man.
blimey. Oh, jeez. Yeah, that was good. But I tell you what, the end of this, they should have ended this one with what happened to the doctor.
Yeah.
There wasn't a beheading, but it's pretty close.
Yeah, that's
It
we'll
was
not spoil it, because that's you gotta see this.
You gotta see that, but man, if fuck.
So this
It's
one
so
definitely
realistic though.
oh, the effects in this, like when they don't use that many, but when they use they're practical effects and they're done well, and it fits with the sort of graininess of the
Yes.
the set pieces, you know, it doesn't like stick out. Where I've noticed with some horror movies, especially when they use splatter and stuff, it's like a cartoon. It's outside the environment. You've got the environment, and then they do the splatter stuff, and it looks so disjointed. The two aren't together. Where this all fits in.
Yeah, absolutely. Right.
But there you go. This is a
Oh,
hidden. I would count this as a hidden gem. It's one of them. It's
yes.
not in the zeitgeist, but if you hear about it and you get a chance to see it, please do, because it's clever and it's hilarious as well as being extremely dark. And if you like that sort of stuff,
Oh, yeah. And you can buy it off or rent it off YouTube. Everyone, it's a good one. It's worth it. It's worth it.
yeah, I think I have a link in the description
Yeah.
as well. You know, there's places you can see it. So look in YouTube or check the description, depending where you are, what's available. But look this one up and yeah, try and see it, because it's definitely worth it, because it's a brilliant movie.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not a waste of an hour and 20 minutes, an hour and 50 minutes. It's not.
No,
at all.
Right, we are back to Wellington Paranormal next, are we?
Yes,
we are. We're back to
looking forward to 3 episodes.
Yep.
Oh no, the last. Yeah.
So we're in the season. So the last episode of season 1, and then we're in the season 2. So yeah,
Yes,
next 3 episodes.
right.
So yeah, we're back to O'Leary and Minogue and Sergeant Macker.
Yay! Yeah.
That
Bravo.
will be a laugh. So there you go. Make sure you look out for that. And just as we say, until next time, keep updated with the channel, do the type of clicky things, and remember to keep it creepy, keep it horrific.